2009 was the last year that a factory-built stepside pickup truck rolled off the assembly line, and that was a Ford F-150. Chevy had discontinued their stepside truck offerings a few years earlier, and Dodge did so way back in the 1980s. Which begs the question, why were the stepside trucks dying? See, if we rewind the clock back many decades, we'll see that stepside pickup trucks didn't just exist as an option, they actually defined what a truck was. From the birth of the American pickup in the 1920s all the way through the mid-1950s, the stepside wasn't some optional styling choice or niche package. It was how trucks were built, period. And for those who may ask why, that answer can be found at the intersection of simplicity, utility, and cost. Early truck beds were designed with functionality in mind and no fashion. By placing rear fenders outside the bed, manufacturers could construct a cargo box with flat, uniform sides, thus using fewer stamped panels, which meant lower production costs and faster assembly. As a result, it was lighter, easier to repair, and crucially, it used less steel, which made it more profitable to sell at scale. It also helped that the step on the side proved very useful for loading and unloading stuff from the bed of the truck to get that extra height. I'd love to say that for certain, companies were really thinking about how efficient to make their trucks and people putting stuff in the bed, but in reality, it's just because the companies were cheap and the idea of building a normal truck bed like we see today was seen as expensive and unnecessary. That's why the stepside existed in the first place. But that was all about to change in the 1950s. For decades, a pickup truck was a pickup truck. The designs were functional, conservative, and unmistakably similar in a lot of ways. By the mid-1950s, even as manufacturers started modernizing their styling, the differences between brands mostly felt skin deep. Sure, Dodge had its bold grills, Chevy had some nice curves, and Ford had its nice no-nonsense stance to its trucks, but they all followed the same playbook. It was getting hard for these truck offerings to stand out amongst each other. So, in 1955, Chevrolet decided to try something radical. Enter the Chevrolet Cameo Carrier, a deluxe version of their Task Force pickup truck that swapped the traditional stepside look for a sleek, slab-sided rear end. It had fiberglass fenders that were molded flush with the sides of the bed, and it was painted in two-tone colors with chrome accents. These trucks were more like a Bel Air coupe than a farm vehicle. Visually, they were stunning, and they were so much different than other trucks offered at the time. Functionally, though, not so much. The Cameo's bed still sat on a traditional narrow stepside frame. Those new slab-sided fenders were attached on the side of the cargo bay, so the cargo space itself wasn't actually any wider than a regular stepside. The design was intriguing though, and Dodge followed suit with the D100 swept side in 1957. But instead of designing a new bed panel to put on the side, Dodge improvised and bolted the rear quarter panels from a two-door station wagon onto the bed of the truck. The result was striking yet strange. It had fins for starters, but it was also awkward, heavy, and not particularly well suited for any real hauling. Like the Cameo Carrier, the swept side was more of a style experiment than a practical evolution of the truck. But that's where Ford got it right. In 1957, while Dodge and Chevy were still figuring out how to look modern, Ford delivered a truck that actually was modern. They called it the style side. And unlike the Cameo or the swept side, Ford's design didn't just glue pretty panels onto a narrow bed. Instead, they engineered a completely new cargo box in the back that stretched the full width of the truck, with the wheel wells now being recessed into the bed. It didn't just make the side of the truck smoother, it also made that bed more usable. Now you had the same flat-sided aerodynamic profile as trucks like the Cameo Carrier and the swept side, but with a wider floor and more cargo space, which meant easier packaging for toolboxes and gear in the back. Technically, because the wheel wells were in the bed now, you lost that exact rectangular shape that a stepside bed had, but you gained volume and practicality in doing so, because you still had just as much space as a stepside that was a perfectly uninterrupted rectangle, but you also now had space in front and behind those wheel wells that was inside the bed. For that one model year, the style side gave Ford a massive strategic advantage. So much so that by 1958, Chevy scrambled to get their own version of a functional style side truck to market, one which they called the Fleetside on Chevy trucks and the West Side on GMC trucks. In 1959, Dodge released their new version as well, which was called the Stepside, and even International now offered trucks with a full-width bed. In just a few short years, the market changed forever, with every brand offering both variants, a stepside and a style side type bed for their trucks. As we moved into the 1960s, trucks got more boxy. The stepside and Fleetside style debate was still fierce, with many people still preferring the looks of the tried and true stepsides. From a straight utilitarian perspective, they still sold 8-foot bed stepside trucks for those who wanted them over the slab side ones. But spoiler alert, these long bed trucks that were stepsides were pretty damn ugly. Even if we look at short beds though, by this point, mid to late 60s, I would say that this is where quite a few stepside trucks started to look a bit out of the ordinary, as if they were designed as an afterthought. Take the 1965 Ford F100 and 1965 Chevy C10 for example. Both great looking trucks, and with the stepside, they don't look bad at all. But looking at the body lines on the sides of the trucks specifically, it is very clear that they were designed to be Fleetside/slab-sided trucks first. As much as people wanted to hold on to that traditional stepside flair, by the early 80s, it was clear where the market was going. Fleetside beds were now dominating, both in sales and design focus. All three of the big players, though, still sought to keep those specific customers who wanted a stepside happy. Dodge, Ford, and Chevy continued offering stepsides well through the 70s into the 80s, and Dodge in fact leaned into that look with some of their most iconic sports trucks ever. The Little Red Express, the Midnight Express, and the Warlock all wore the stepside proudly, but that stepside nostalgia was not enough to keep them alive forever. Right after this, Dodge was the first of them to quietly phase out their stepsides by the mid-80s. Chevy and Ford held on longer, carrying them into the modern era, even as trucks got taller, rounder, and more refined. On the round point though, it's actually strange that the softening of truck design in the late 90s and early 2000s actually gave the stepside a second wind. On certain trucks, like the second-gen Ford SVT Lightning, the narrower bed and those flared curvy fenders just worked with the more smooth design. The proportions felt purposeful again, and they didn't really look like an afterthought. And the same goes for the early 2000s stepside Chevy trucks. That little bit more rounded off front end complemented the stepside nicely, even though the designs now had more continuity to them, but the reality was simple. By this point, people were about 50 years into Fleetside trucks being in production. Demand for these specialty stepsides had almost totally dried up. Most truck buyers wanted the maximum cargo space and a clean, modern look. If that's what 90% of customers wanted, then for a manufacturer, designing and tooling a second, less practical bed style just did not make financial sense anymore. Manufacturers were also under increasing pressure to meet ever stricter emissions regulations. Aerodynamics started to matter for trucks now, and the curvy fenders of a stepside acted more as an air brake than anything else. So they had to go. By 2006, Chevy quietly pulled the plug on the sports side, as they called it then, and in 2009, Ford axed the stepside as well, ending the bed style's 70-year or so run in the automotive world. Today, you kind of get the best of both worlds because manufacturers now have just been able to design steps into the rear bumpers on trucks to try and give customers the ability to hop up easier without having to have the compromise of a stepside bed minimizing cargo space. It's objectively the next logical evolution. But I could confidently say that we'll probably never see a brand new factory stepside pickup truck ever again outside of a special limited edition. And that is the rise and fall of the Stepside bed. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below which style you actually tend to prefer and why. For me, on certain generations of trucks, I really like the Stepside, but on other ones, I just think the fleet-sided trucks look a lot better. And thank you all for watching another Rare Cars video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one, enthusiasts.